Hey everybody, we're gonna turn this Stryfe into this monster. Complete with safety in the safe position. If you press the rev trigger, it will read the voltage meter. And some extras we've got are this mag release for mounted darts, and we've got this sweep pin. And powering this whole thing is a 2S LiPo battery. Let's get started. Here are all the parts that you need for the build. We've got a 2S battery, lithium polymer, and it's 1,000 milliamp hours. This size seems to fit well in the Stryfe. We've got the battery housing tray retainer screw for easy access to the battery port, and we've got a voltage meter to protect the LiPo battery. We want it within an acceptable range so we don't destroy the batteries. We've got two Meishel Motors here from Foam Blast, pretty sweet. Okay, and we've got thicker gauge wires here. The wiring in the Stryfe will not support this build, it will burn. And we've got some heat shrink to close in all the exposed wiring. And we've got two switches here. This is going to be the safety switch, pretty beefy safety switch. And we have a very clicky rev trigger switch. I love it. And over here, a plug for outer darts. They made these 3D printed parts. This will make it easy for the switch, the rev switch. We won't have to use as much hot glue to make this work. And then we have a mag release here. The tools we're gonna need are a Dremel, a soldering iron and solder, and then we've got flathead and Phillips screwdriver, some wire cutters, and good old trusty hot glue gun. All right, I've opened up my orange one that I've already modded, and here is a summary of what's going in them. So over here, I've got my my voltage meter, right? So I'll put that there. I've got my safety switch. I Dremeled it and put it there, over here. You can see that. And then I've got my magazine release. And then over here is this monstrosity of hot glue that I was talking about earlier. The part I got is this 3D printed part, and it goes on just like this. And it goes in nicely just like that. So here's the wiring guide for the Stryfe. If you follow it, it should work. If you want to download it, I'll put a link in the description. All right, in this segment, I'm gonna go over what things you can just straight up delete. There are a lot of safety features in Nerf that you don't really need. So this thing right here, gone. This safety thing right here turns off when the magazine or the cover is not on. We're just gonna delete that. This thing right here, you don't need at all. So go ahead and delete that. And all this does is it won't rev if there's no magazine inserted. We'll just make it simple. We don't need that. Take that out. Take that micro switch out. We don't need it. Oh gosh. Harder than I thought, sorry. Alright. And we'll just clip this wire. Gone. All right. And know, while we're at it, we'll just add the magazine release. It's much, much better. So we'll take this guy out. And we will add this thing here. Okay, we don't have to worry about that no more. Two more locks that we need to get rid of. So we'll get rid of this one and this old puny trigger, rep trigger. We don't need it. Get out of here. All right. And then this guy we don't need as well. All right, so this trigger, 3D printed part, will go right here, and this thing will go right here, and when you press the trigger, it should create a connection in this momentary switch, and it should turn on. However, we're gonna have to Dremel this part, so before we do any cutting, I want to remind everybody to respect your tools. A Dremel can cut right through your flesh, and a little shard can fly right into your eyes and blind you. So, these glasses are not sufficient. Use safety glasses. These are my prescription ones. These can be bought for $1. They will protect your eyes. You've been warned. Thank you. Oh, I lied. There's one more really annoying lock that you need to get rid of. This guy right here will block your trigger. Get out of here. Don't need you. All right. Here we go. Let's test that one more. All right. That works. Trigger works. Outstanding. All right, this is kind of a tricky part here. So there are these, this is for that flywheel. There's little tabs on the side here that you have to press, and they'll come out. So it's a little frustrating, but all good. All right, here we go. That comes out apart just like that. All right, so there's a trick to getting these flywheels out. Well, first of all, let's get rid of all this. I think we want to save these. Two screwdrivers, two small screwdrivers in here, and you just kind of work it out, push it out. Ideally, they'd be the same length, but you can work with what you got. There we go. There's one set. All right. Do it to the other side here. Second set of flywheels complete. All right, now, I think these can just come right out. You might have to give it a good push here. All right, this is the stock motor. These are 130s. The size is 130, so if you want to buy some motors, you can. All right, here are the lovely Meishel Motors from Foam Blast. Oh gosh. Okay, so you want them alternating. So there's these little red marks here. You want to make them go opposite, like that. All right. You may have to Dremel some. I think they're similar size. Try that again. Stand by. May have to Dremel those little guys in. All right, gotta be careful with these because you don't want to Dremel too much because you want that tight space. So be very careful. All right, there's these little tabs in there that we're gonna Dremel. So here we go. Oof, hopefully I didn't go too far here. All right. Might be good. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, looks pretty centered. All right, do the same to this other side here. All right, I think that's pretty good. Go ahead and put these covers back on. Not sure if they're actually needed, but yeah, we'll put them on. All right. All right, so I didn't mention this earlier, but I did buy some flywheels. Hopefully they'll work better, but who knows? All right, so put the flywheels back on here. And we're just going to carefully add these on such that we don't break these little backings here, because if they break, well, I think we're gonna be screwed. So you just want to be very careful with that. All right, so what I'm gonna try to do is stick this thing in front of it. Hopefully that's good. Let's see. we shall see. Okay, try this again. All right, put this guy back on. All right, it's gonna go in like that. Kind of want to do is test that it goes in properly. Fires. All right, so I'm not super great at soldering. Let's get this closer. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to tin the cable and the wire. I know some of you guys are cringing at me. I'm going to try this again. I put this little C-clamp here to keep it in place. Hopefully that does the trick. It just hasn't been keeping in place for me. We're just gonna tin this. Add a crap ton of tin on there. All right. Then we're gonna work with this. I'm gonna grab it and move it into place. Strategically moving the tin. So interesting. The tin will move with the heat. It will move towards the heat, which is pretty interesting. So you heat up what you want the tin to go to, and it will follow it. Pretty cool. There we go. So instead of using the battery, I devised this little janky tester. You got the battery and opposite sides, positive to negative, negative to positive, and we'll leave this side open and we're gonna test this. Yep, it spins. Let's hope it spins the right way. Yep, ooh. That was cool. You just gotta make sure that the black is positive now. Doesn't really matter what color you use, but it would have been nice if I had it the opposite way so that the positive would be red, but it doesn't matter. Just keep that in your mind. Black is positive now. All right, another trick, if you don't have helping hands, just use a rubber band and a screwdriver, or pliers, any kind of pliers. And if you want to hold something in place, you just use this. So I'm gonna hold this in place. All right, I'm gonna solder 2 wires together. Pretty easy. All right, we're gonna install this voltage meter. It's kind of tricky, so what I've done is created a similar piece of paper, traced it, and then I put it on here, and I've traced it with a Sharpie here. So a fine point Sharpie. So if you could see, just made some lines and then I started to cut, but I wanted to get this before I finished the cut. All right. All right, it looks like our work has paid off. All right, if we turn it in the off position, turn on the voltage meter, turn on the fire position. Once again, safety. Turns on the voltage meter. Fire. Awesome. Now this is a battle-worthy blaster.